How do you tell a really good story? Well, you're told in primary school that a narrative should have a setting, a plot, and characters. Although this is a simple recipe for successful storytelling, authors, playwrights, and directors use these three things in advanced ways to ensure you remain hooked into their narrative. Today, we're going to focus on only one of these ingredients: characters, specifically character archetypes. Okay, what is an archetype? As a definition, an archetype is a typical example of a certain person or thing. Archetypes are not to be confused with stereotypes, which are more generalized, overly simplified versions of these set examples. Think archetypes of the basis which a specific character's behaviors, dialogue, and actions orbit around. A couple examples of archetypes are the hero, the lover, or the mentor. Just with those names, you can probably form a pretty good idea of what one of those characters might be like. However, there's one archetype we're going to look at closely today, the Machiavel. This archetype originates from the political philosophy of a man named Niccolo Machiavelli, an Italian diplomat and writer from the Renaissance period, best known for his 1513 work, The Prince. Although this text is generally interpreted as a political treatise, kind of like an instruction guide, some argue that this text can be seen in a satirical way, especially due to the inclusion of this new character archetype, the Machiavel. The archetype itself is best described as a character who utilizes manipulation, persuasion, and calculation in an effort to get something they want, often deriving from a place of jealousy and selfishness. The Machiavel is often very charismatic, a two-faced situation where behind the mask they are emotionally detached. Unfortunately for them, their power-hungry actions often lead them to an inevitable doom, bringing down the people they are jealous of. Where have I seen this before? If you're in high school, most likely you've studied William Shakespeare's Othello, and if you remember anything from then, you'll remember Iago, perhaps one of the most iconic and best portrayed Machiavel archetypes. Iago ticks all the boxes, and it is him who turns Othello's story into the tragedy it is. From the very beginning, Iago admits his duplicitous nature, chillingly stating, "I am not what I am." A complete rejection of honesty and identity, a perfect portrayal of the Machiavel's false mask. Throughout the play, he weaponizes the trust of those he is closest with, iconically stating to Othello, "Men should be what they seem, or those that be not, would they might seem none," pretending to uphold virtue while actively engineering destruction. Most revealing of all is Iago's quiet pride in his own manipulation, when he says, "When devils will the blackest sins put on, they do suggest at first with heavenly shows," ultimately proving that he knows his evil is most effective when disguised as good. Iago doesn't kill Othello, he makes Othello destroy himself, perfectly portraying the Machiavel archetype. Now, if you're a nerd like me, you've definitely seen the Star Wars saga, and there's no better portrayal of the Machiavel archetype than Chancellor Palpatine himself. Now, because it's been over 20 years since the prequel series came out, it is your fault if I spoil anything. Essentially, Chancellor Palpatine comes off as a chill space politician who appears to be doing the righteous acts of the Galaxy's Council, but like any good Machiavel, is actually hiding his true identity and ambitions as Darth Sidious, the main villain in the prequel series. Just like Iago, Palpatine perfectly curates his stunt double, which is the gateway to a Machiavel success. His manipulation of Anakin begins subtly, particularly in the Opera House scene, where he carefully feeds Anakin the lie, "The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural." It's not just a creepy line, it's a promise tailored to Anakin's greatest fear, losing Padme. He builds this lie slowly and strategically, never pushing too hard, just nudging, planting doubt, until Anakin starts to believe in himself. This slow seduction mirrors Palpatine's eventual confession, "I can feel it in your anger." It gives you focus, it gives you strength. At this stage, you're probably pretty good at identifying Machiavel traits. This quote reiterates the whole idea of deceptive comments, designed to mess with their victims' psychological processes. After Anakin has just well been convinced that he should turn against his training as a Jedi, Palpatine serves the cherry on top. His transformation from smiling Chancellor to Supreme Emperor is complete when he coldly orders, "Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy." This portrayal of both Iago and Palpatine as Machiavel archetypes is very important for the content of the narrative. But why? Perhaps it's something about humans relating to other humans. Although if you relate to the Machiavel, you're a sick, sick person. One of the byproducts of a narrative with a Machiavel is another great literary tool: dramatic irony. Throughout both Othello and Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, it is clear to us that Iago and Palpatine are horrible people. Othello and Anakin are almost completely unaware of this until it is too late, until then Machiavel has won. It is this method of having to watch perfectly good characters unravel under the influence of the lies and manipulation of a Machiavel villain. Perhaps the next time you're writing creatively in English, you will think to upcycle from Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince and make your poor teacher cry in a perfectly curated world of manipulation, deception, and dramatic irony. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Max's Journey to the HSC, and we'll see you in the next episode where we will talk about literary devices. Ooh.